Today we're going to be working on some line-related art. In my art classes, we are working on a line skill check. So today we are going to start with a small piece of artwork. This is a 4x6 card. I'm going to begin by drawing about 7 curved lines all across my paper. These will give me little areas that I can draw in next. Before I get to that part, I'm going to go ahead and darken up some of my lines by changing the line weight, which is how thick or thin it is. For this one, I decided instead of just having thin lines and thick lines, I wanted to add both thin and thick parts to each of my lines. So I'm going through each of my lines, going over them maybe once, and then picking out areas that I would like to add a little bit more line weight to. It looks a little bit more interesting, it was definitely less boring, and it gives it some visual interest as you go. So for these, I've just drawn them quickly, and then I'm going back over them, and everywhere that I kind of get off of my line, I'm going to go ahead and fill in with my dark color. I'm using a pen for this so that it's easier to see on the video. You can also use a pencil, you can use colored pens, whatever you like to draw with. So now we're going to fill each of these in and just make them look way more interesting. Once this part is done, we're going to be looking at each of these sections that we've now created, and we are going to fill each of these in with a different kind of lines. This part is actually a lot easier than it seems. Definitely takes some practice before you start to really kind of figure out where you want your lines to be and how thick you want different parts to be. On this one, I've done a lot of the ends thicker and some of the kind of sweeping parts of the curve thicker. There we go. Alright, we've been going over lots of lines in class. This is a horizontal line that goes from side to side. A vertical line goes up and down. Diagonal lines are any line that is at an angle and is not vertical and not horizontal. So you can see I'm drawing lots of them, and they don't look like your average diagonal lines, but they technically are. We've also gone over zigzags, which are very angular, wavy lines, curvy lines, spiral lines, and we talked about hatching, which I like to do at a diagonal. And then cross hatching, which is going back over your hatch with the new line. 2 hatches that cross hatching. We also talked about parallel lines. And any set of lines can actually be made to be parallel. These are broken lines. This is a set of dashes. And one of my favorites, I like to do dashes and dots, which looks a little bit like Morse code. It's a very fun line to draw. Alright, let's get busy. I'm going to start with a spiral to fill this square. I'm going to fill the entire thing, try to make it neat and interesting. Next, I'm going to do some horizontal lines. Now I'm going to do a hatch. I'm going to go one way, turn around and go the other way. Now we're going to do a mixture of broken lines, a spiral, and some curvy lines to make kind of a wood grain texture. It's using 3 different kinds of lines. Now we're going to do some wavy lines. And next, some zigzags. Now let's do some scribbles. This is just a mixture of wavy lines, lines crossing over each other, curvy lines, curly cues, spirals, all sorts of different stuff. Now let's do some parallel straight and broken lines. Now we're going to change between thick and thin lines. Now let's do some more really crazy curvy lines. Let's do another hatch. Let's do a cross hatch. I got tighter as I went to make it look darker towards that corner. How about another spiral? Some perpendicular lines. More zigzags. This time in a different direction. Let's do another scribble. And these are a mixture of jagged zigzags with some curves, kind of making a fire shape. Almost done. Let's do some more curved lines, and we're going to finish the edges with some broken lines. Now let's do another hatch. This time I'm going to go over it twice for a deeper hatch. And just one more. This time let's just do some X's. Letters are technically lines. I'm going to do a lot of little ones and some big ones. There we go, all done. That is our skill check.